Hi everyone! I want to start by asking you something. Do you think that someone working full time should still struggle to afford groceries or rent? Because for a lot of people in California, including my own family, that's the reality. My mom has worked over 40 hours a week as a single parent for the longest time that I've known. She'd clean offices and bathrooms, take late shifts, and still, it would be barely enough to keep us afloat. And even though she has worked so hard and has been one of the hardest workers that I've ever known, it still was never enough. It wasn't until my older sister and I were old enough to start working that we could finally help her out. And that's why I wanted to talk about this law today, California's new minimum wage increase. It raises the state's minimum wage to $16.50 per hour for all employers and even more fast food, health worker and workers. It's also tied to future increases to inflation, which, what does it mean? It means that wages can rise with the cost of living. And in this speech, I'll break down the pros and the cons of this law, and I will share why I personally believe that it's the step in the right direction, even though it's not perfect. Okay, what's this law about? Let's get into the details. This law just didn't pop out of nowhere. California has actually been raising the minimum wage ever so slowly since 2016. The latest brings it up to about 16.50 per hour across the boards starting in 2024. But on top of that, workers in specific sectors such as fast food and healthcare now earn even more for their work. A lot of that came from Assembly Bill 1228, which was introduced by Assembly member Chris Holden. And in specifically, this bill raised the fast food minimum wage to $20 an hour. This law is part of a broader effort to help working people survive in a state where rent, gas, and groceries, literally everything, is going up. Now, I want to start with the strongest pro argument in my opinion, which is that raising the minimum wage improves economic stability for workers and without causing major job loss. According to Michael Reich and Dennis Sasinski, which I do have a graph, and as we go back, we can see the graph that is shown here is the raise in prices and wages pre-policy and post-policy. Michael Reich and Dennis Sasinski are two economic researchers from UC Berkeley. Fast food workers in California saw a pay increase of 8 to 9% after this new law went into effect. But prices at restaurants only went up to about 3.7%, which we can see in Reich and Sasinski's paper. And in my opinion, that's a pretty fair trade-off. On top of that, Sarah Bond from the Public Policy Institute of California says that raising wages helps reduce poverty, especially for families who rely on one or two low-wage workers. And if you think about it, if you're making minimum wage in California, even working full-time, might not cover rent, because this law helps people afford rent, groceries, and gas. Which, I want to ask you a question. As the audience, what would an extra $100 on your paycheck each month mean to you? Because for a lot of people, that's the difference between making it and falling behind. Now let's look at the strongest con argument. Raising the minimum wage too quickly could lead to job losses, fewer hours, and higher prices, especially for small businesses. According to a 2025 article by Lauren Taylor and Zachary Hill, which reported on a study from the Berkeley Research Group, California's $20 an hour fast food wage led to around 11,000 jobs being lost. And on top of that, prices rose, and 89% of fast food restaurants had to reduce hours or they switched to automation to make up for the higher labor costs. And furthermore, according to J.B. Maverick, he's a writer for Investopedia, and he wrote on small businesses, especially local shops and restaurants, and how they are the ones that this hit the hardest. He explains that when labor costs goes up quickly, many owners either raise prices or cut staff, sometimes both. And that's just not a theory. It's already happening. Because here we are. I have a question for you. If you ran a small business and had to pay everyone $20 an hour, even part-time, high school workers, how would you keep your doors open? This law has good intentions, but for some businesses, it could backfire. And it leaves you wondering, where does this leave us, right? The pro side, the people working full-time should be able to afford to live. The numbers back it up. Increased wages, modest price changes, and the reduction of poverty. It's not just good economics, it's human dignity. The con side reminds us that businesses also face pressure. Some have had to cut hours, raise prices, or even let people go, which is something that most don't want to do, especially in fast food and small operations. Personally, I believe that the pro side is stronger. If someone works 40 plus hours a week, they should be able to afford some food, housing, and stability. Those are basic needs for survival. And according to the research, most industries do adapt to these changes if they're rolled out with support and care. With inflation rising and costs increasing every year, raising wages isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Some references here I have are by journalists, researchers, economic professors, and the state of California, DIR, which is a government website, Reich and Sosetsky, Taylor and Hill, J.B. Maverick. And I want to thank you for your time and leave you here with a final thought. If you're working full-time, shouldn't that be enough to live on, not just survive? Thank you.